Hello and welcome back to the Football Terrace. Chelsea 4, Crystal Palace 0. Have we started to see the gelling together, the coming together, the click within Frank Lampard's brand new Chelsea team? A goal and an assist for new signing Ben Chilwell, silencing a lot of the doubters that didn't think he had the ability to be a Chelsea player today. The much maligned Jorginho stepping up with 2 crucial penalties as well. It was the best performance from Chelsea all season. Defensively sound, the goalkeeper looking good when called upon, the midfield finally having balance, and the attacking line looking a lot better. Of course, having a natural winger and wide man out there in Callum Hudson-Odoi. There's still more to go. When you reintroduce the Pulisics and the Ziyech's of this world, you will see Werner go more central, I think, where he needs to be, because he's struggling to get on the goal, to get himself a goal in the Premier League. But overall, an excellent performance by Chelsea Football Club that cannot be denied in any way, shape, or form. We're going to get the boys on now to speak. We're going to open up the airways for you in a few moments as well. But I want to know, I'm really interested today in what the people that criticized Lampard massively last week have got to say. People for calling him out. People were saying that his system isn't working, etc., etc. No time for it to gel. People didn't want any of that. What's your views and what's your opinions today? I would actually argue this is the best individual performance from any of the top six teams so far this campaign. We know how good Palace are away from home against the Big Six. We want your views and opinions. Get them into us now. We're going to get the panel involved. See you in a second. How's it going, gentlemen? David, Jem, Elite, KJ with us. Of course, they were watching the game on the watch long. Before we go any further, make sure you're smashing the like button. We do have a super chat here that I don't think I can ignore due to my antics during that. But it basically says, Terry, take it. I don't know. If you want to watch it, that might not make any sense to you. We'll show it a little bit later. But a lot of the Chelsea fans also call in for DT to come on, and what's he got to say now? But I'm going to go to David first of all. Your best performance of the season so far. The balance looked almost perfect today. Give me your overarching views.
It's just a really good win. Really good win for us. Like we needed a good performance. We got one. I think that was the first game with probably our best back four, and you saw that is the best defensively we've looked in a long time. You've seen why we've needed to make those improvements with Ben Chilwell and Thiago Silva, because they were absolutely solid today. Barely had any problems. I haven't seen the expected goals, as I like to go by. Haven't seen them yet, but I'm sure it will be heavily favoured in Chelsea, and I doubt they'd even got close to even half a chance. So that was good for us. Attacking wise, we look better. Again, unfortunately, Werner didn't get a goal, but he's not playing. Sorry. Timo Linton, or whatever you want to call him, Laka Timo, whatever. Basically, Timo Pukki, if you want to go by that. But I'm not worried about him. I still think once he goes into his actual spot and he's playing up front, it'll be different, because you saw today Tammy was getting chances. He was getting the chances, but he's just not as clinical. If those are Timo in the end and not Tammy, those are goals. And suddenly 4-0 looks 6-0, 7-0, and you're like, oh, I reckon, again, this season, I said we will have a couple of teams that we spanked right back in Ancelotti days when we were beating teams 7-6-0. So, yeah, it was a really, really good day for us. Lampard got everything right from lineup to substitutions. Christian got a couple minutes as well. So all round, it's just really good.
Jem, do you think a lot more respect needs to be put on Lampard's name? Because the start of the season wasn't particularly great. You had people like myself, of course, we asked the questions, but there was a lot of panic around a lot of the other Premier top six sides around the starts of the season, the fitness levels not being there, and everybody looking a bit sketchy. There almost seems to be no time for it. Nobody wanted to give Chelsea, United, Tottenham time to sort of settle. What do you think the difference was today compared to previous weeks in relation to looking so much better?
Fitness. Obviously, the more games you play, the fitter you get. And, players are slowly starting to come back. Getting played in their positions is important, which he hasn't done in the last couple of games, and it hasn't been his fault, to be honest, because it's just, we've had injuries. He's had to play around tactically with players and things like that, and it didn't work. But to criticise him so early was wrong anyway, because we've only played 3 games, man. Like, we should have just given him. You've got to give him a bit of time. We've changed half our squad as it is anyway. So, and it's going to take us time for him to suss out who and where and what anyway. So, yeah, he's got it right today. He just needs to continue with that, and he needs to just slowly add Pulisic into it and Ziyech, get Werner up there banging in some goals, and we'll all be happy. I'm pretty sure.
No, I agree with that. A few people saying, Terry, where was Zaha today? Well, Zaha had the typical game that he does, generally speaking, against bigger and better sides. Unless you make mistakes, he doesn't do anything. He literally did zero today on the football pitch. Is exactly what I said with the guy. If the difference is if you put a genuine £72 million player in the Crystal Palace team today, he'd have done something. I mean, he might have had a proper shot. He might have beaten a man. Nothing at all. As I said before, he scored 2 against United, which was embarrassing for me. But he did. Both those things come from, one, a penalty that everybody in the whole world of football, even the Palace manager, said wasn't a penalty in the first place. Then he got to take the retake of that anyway. And the second one, if Silva or Zuma today would have made the same mistakes that Lindelof made, then maybe Zaha would have scored. But that isn't the sign of a brilliant player that you pounce upon a mistake. The sign of a brilliant player is when you create opportunities yourselves in the same way we saw Chelsea do. KJ, I want to come to you. United play Chelsea in a few weeks with more players to be added, more balance and togetherness to come. Are you worried about how strong Chelsea could be this season?
Chelsea looked good today. They was very assured, very controlled on the ball. Jorginho had a very good game. Chilwell had a very good game. It's too early again to say if I'm worried or not. If this was like 15 games in and we saw more of those performances throughout the season, then I could probably say, yeah, like they're going to be some trouble. But we know there's mistakes in that team still. So I'm not overly worried at the moment. I need to see what United do in a few games' time and how the transfer window ends. But no, they had a strong performance. And the title of today's game was Finding Timo, as someone said in the comments there. So there we go, innit? Good game overall.
We're going to move on to chatting Timo Werner a little bit later because he of course, has had a quiet start. It's 386 minutes now of Premier League football without a goal. Predatory striker brought in for his goals. Of course, though, been moved out to that wing position, which, by the way, what I love about the irony is I think he actually looks, we'll get onto it more later, but I think he looks weaker and not ineffective, but he looks a lot weaker and less potent in the wide areas, which debunks the myth that he plays out wide. He doesn't. He drifts there and likes to come in centrally. But with Tammy occupying that area, it makes it hard for him. I think when Pulisic is back, we will see the very best Timo Werner. We're going to add Ches and Prime to the stream now. Welcome, Ches. Welcome, Prime. We're going to go to Ches first on this. I'm glad Ches hasn't got his earbuds in today because earbuds don't work on StreamYard. What did you make of your team's performance today, mate?
I thought it was really assured. I'm really happy with the starting lineup. I told you to calm down. I told you a few weeks ago, calm down. We didn't have our team. Lampard's trying to find his team now. He's got his players that are in the right positions. We've got a formation, a tactic to play, and everyone's in a position. I told you to calm down. We were like struggling and stuff. And Werner as well. Obviously, he's in his own position, but just like with Jorginho and Havertz, when he goes back into striker, like David said, he'll be more clinical and he'll get his chances. But yeah, I'm happy with today's performance. I'm very happy with it, and we just push on from here.
How about yourself, Prime? Defensively sound today. The mid. I want to talk Jorginho as well because Jorginho is one of the most. Again, Chelsea fans have got this habit of picking on a handful of their own players, and I think one of them that gets a hell of a lot of stick is Jorginho. I think there is a cultural issue. There's an understanding of the role that he plays. He was your most. He would be my man of the match for you today. How impressed were you with him and the overall Chelsea performance?
So impressed with Jorginho, but again, this is just what he does. People think because he plays deeper, he's a defensive midfielder, and because they think he's a defensive midfielder, he's not that good based on his interceptions and whatever metric you want to look at it. But he plays deep because he dictates the pace of the game, like Thiago does, like Pirlo used to. He dictated the game today to a T, which allowed Crystal Palace, at times they did get on the ball and they did get onto us, but it allowed him to slow the game down at times, not let things go from end to end, end to end. He was brilliant today. Obviously, 2 penalties as well, and he scored them, and sometimes that can be the difference. Chelsea also brilliant today. Chilwell goal and an assist. Same Chelsea fans that were saying, let's get Tagliafico or Reguilon or Telles because Chilwell's English and he's not good enough. Well, he showed today that he's good. Last season, in my opinion, he was brilliant. Yeah, he fell off a little bit last season at Leicester, but the whole Leicester team fell off a cliff as well. So how do you judge that? He was brilliant today. Let's see the team go on from strength to strength.
Ben Chilwell again. We know why he was disrespected, and it was all to do with nationality. If Ben Chilwell was even Welsh or Scottish, there'd have been a lot less. It's just this. There is a percentage of football Twitter essentially that just has a genuine problem with anything to do with England. The irony in that is those same people choose to support English football teams, which is very weird. Very strange. You know what I mean? It really is. It very, very much is. I want to get the league table up as well, because I know it's very early and we haven't got a league table up yet so far this season, because it doesn't give a true reflection of where things are. But that's the league table as it stands right now. Of course, the likes of Aston Villa. I didn't realize Aston Villa are 2-2 for their opening 2 games as an example, and and whatnot. And that's why it's a bit skewed at the moment. You've really got to wait for 10 games. But your start's been an interesting one with 2 wins, a draw, and a defeat. 10 goals being scored, though. You're going to score goals this season, Chelsea. I don't think there's any doubt about that whatsoever. It's about getting the balance right. Currently sitting in 4th. A few tough games on the way, but Chelsea definitely moving in that right direction. I don't think there's any doubt about that whatsoever. We're going to add Anita in now. Anita, welcome to the show. Chelsea smashed it. Give us your views.
Hey, I am gassed. I'm so gassed. I didn't even put that still on. Sorry. I am so gassed.
Put your mask on,
Huh?
Put your mask on.
Yeah. Sorry. I just got in. But nah, I'm so gassed, yeah. So first half, I could barely say or wait. That match was a bit dead in the first half. I was thinking, I don't know how we're going to pick up the pace. It just seemed like a repeat of West Brom, but obviously, Crystal Palace, they just weren't taking their chances either. And Crystal Palace, they look slower than us. And then I was just thinking, at half time, what's Frank Lampard going to do to turn this around? He came out, turned it around. I was like, raw. So this is what this guy can actually do. Now, listen, yeah. And when I've been telling people, when we get all our players back, it's gonna be a different kind of Chelsea you're gonna see. So Ben Chilwell obviously started, and by the way, Chelsea fans that didn't want Ben Chilwell, I'm looking at you very funny. Because you say, oh, he's not worth the price tag, he's not worth this, he's not worth that. Today he proved himself, and it's not even like it's his first game where he's come on and he's played well. Like, he started today, solid performance, and it was nothing less than I expected from him, honestly. And by the way, people in the comments, I never once said Lampard out. I've always wanted Lampard in, so relax. But also just big up the back 4 and big up our goalkeeper as well. Ben Chilwell, he made a header back to the goalkeeper at like the 78th minutes or something, and it was like, if that was Kepa in goal, oh my God, you need to have that kind of confidence in your goalkeeper. And it's just so nice to see the chemistry between that back 4. And I just pray that Frank Lampard keeps that going. And on top of that, I'm just seeing a lot more chemistry between the midfield and the forwards at the minute as well. Like, the transitions were beautiful. It was just so amazing to watch. It really was. But all I'm asking for now is just for a bit more development on Timo Werner and Kai Havertz. I think Kai Havertz is getting there quicker than Timo Werner is. Timo Werner, I think his awareness isn't as great as it was, obviously, when he was in the Bundesliga and stuff. But honestly, once he gets that awareness and he starts clicking, he starts clocking onto things a bit quicker, I think we're going to see a very good Chelsea side. And I'm already even seeing bits and bobs of Timo Werner and Pulisic linking up as well, which I liked towards the end. So yeah, I'm a very happy Chelsea fan, as you can see. I'm really happy.
Good. And I think you've got every right to be as well. I think what you brought up there as well, Neeks, I think is important. For me, when looking at the Chelsea team today, there was just more balance. And I don't like Werner starting on the left-hand side. I like the idea of him drifting there from central. This kind of weird hipster notion that, he played there because his heat map says it. It needs to be debunked. But why you look more balanced today is because you had Chilwell behind him. So you didn't have this situation where the whole left-hand side was completely null and void, where you had Werner weakened because he's out of position, followed by having Alonso behind him or Emerson. You had Chilwell that strengthened it as an example. You then had Hudson-Odoi that was able to hug the touchline on the right-hand side. So it meant that you're able to switch the play quicker because you have people out in wide positions. When you bring Pulisic back in and you move Werner centrally, I think that's when Werner will click, because I know there's a lot of focused on Werner at the moment because he's not scoring goals. I think it was 380 plus minutes without a goal yet. Yeah. And there's a lot of jokes going around, people calling it, Timo Linton and Timo Pukki. What's the one I saw today? Werner Telly and stuff like this. There's a bit of banter. But until he's played in his actual position as a central striker, I don't think we're going to see the best of Timo Werner in the Premier League. But there's a lot more balance today from Lampard. And what's also interesting is the best you've looked and no Mason Mount.
Yep.
And that doesn't have a go at Mason Mount. Mason Mount's best position for me is a 10, is an attacking midfield player, if you want to say that. Or we want to call it a 10 or attacking midfield player. I don't want to get stuck in the mud on that one. But he's never going to be as good as Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz was excellent today. Without getting an assist, he was excellent today. Everything that he did. This kind of notion for managers of trying to get square pegs into round holes has to stop. Because if Lampard keeps people in their natural positions as best he can, with the size of your squad, you'll click faster because people feel natural in how they're playing, and you'll win more games like you did today. And then you'll be flying. So really impressive performance.
This was my thing with Mount is that like people are like, he has to start because he does this pressing thing that nobody else in the squad can do, and this, that, and the other. I'm like, what are you telling me that he's the only guy who runs at players to press? Like, he is not the only guy who can do that. So you don't need to shoehorn him in. Playing him every single minute for every single game isn't beneficial to anyone because he's not improving because he's not playing his position. He doesn't develop as well as he could do. Our performances decline and he becomes one of the scapegoats. He, like Chelsea fans right now, he's one of the most disliked players in the whole squad. Because people don't dislike him, they just dislike him at right wing because we all know he's not a right winger. It's quite simple.
And I know a lot of people say that he's an 8, and I get that. But it's when I watch him play, whenever he's in and around the Chelsea box, that end of the 8's role, I don't feel comfortable watching him. I think he's loose in possession. His biggest strength within the 8 role is the attacking element when he starts centrally. That's my view here. So I don't want to get stuck in the weeds. I don't want to get stuck in the kind of mud on actually the nuance of his role is this, because we're football fans. Any football fan that wants to go into deep it that much, you're a geek, bro. I'm not about chatting to you. Seriously, I'm not about that kind of chat.
No.
Basically, attacking midfielder, you now have one of the best young attacking midfielders in the world. Mason Mount should, in my opinion, be playing second fiddle to Kai Havertz of the season.
I've got a question for your team, Prom. You go.
Amiros, Matt was on the bench and we just comfortably won 4-0. Come outside.
Yes.
Where is he?
Wait, say that again with your shades on, bro.
Yeah,
say it with the shades on.
It don't look right, mate. Put them down.
Put the shades on and say it.
Yes.
That's
Chelsea
it.
just annihilated Crystal Palace with Zaha, who is meant to be one of the best players, best wingers in the Prem. 4-0 comfortably. Mount on the bench. Come outside, Amiros.
Come outside.
Let me not curse.
Come outside. My guy. He called him out. KJ, you had a question for the Chelsea contingency.
Yeah. So in terms of, I'm not going to go in Werner too much because I know he's not playing in his right position and I like Werner, so he's good. But the guy who was playing up front today, Bambi Abrahams, is he good enough to be even a second choice striker for Chelsea? That is my question. What do you do with him?
Yes, is the answer to that. He needs to play second fiddle to Werner. He just gets, I said this earlier, he gets 6 chances, but he needs that extra 1 to turn it in. And that's the problem. Like, when you're a striker, to be one of the best strikers, you have to be clinical. And if you ain't got a clinical edge to your game, then you shouldn't be starting, in my eyes.
But Jam, if we created a plethora of chances, like if we created a plethora of chances, Tammy would be scoring. So I think it's down to the team as well. To create a lot more. Yeah, I know, but today. Maybe we just need to create even more. I know, but that
kind of feeds into what Jem says. Like, you got to give him like so many chances so we can actually bag. You know, like if we need a bit more, fair enough. But there's only so many chances that you can give a striker at the end of the day. We need someone that's more clinical. I think he is good enough to play second fiddle. Definitely to Werner. But you know, we saw Giroud start. What was it? Was it earlier this week? We saw Giroud starting, and you know, like, we don't really have an option when we come to Giroud and Tammy. Like, I feel like Tammy always needs to start. Maybe Giroud come off the bench, but if it's between Tammy, Werner, and Giroud, I'll definitely have Werner starting ahead of any one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He had a quarter of our shots today. He had a quarter of our shots.
Yeah, he did. He had 4 shots, only 1 on target. And this is the thing with Tammy. And he did score 15 goals last season without any penalties. And I know people praise that. It's great. He had a 3-game super purple patch where he scored 7 of those goals. And this is how I look at it. It's that it's great that he did that. You can't take that away. Those 3 games, he was in world-class form. To score 7 in 3 games is amazing. A hat trick and 2 braces. You can't deny that. He then went and he already had 2 goals prior to that, right? So that was 9 goals. That was October, beginning of October. The rest of the season, you're then celebrating the fact that for the remaining sort of 7-8 months of the season, the guy scored a goal a month. That's never going to be good enough. You can't have a striker that scores, even if you scored 15 goals in your opening 8 games, there's only a certain amount of points you can win out of 8 games.
Yeah.
Maximum of my maths has gone here, 24 points that you can win out of that. Even if he scores a hat trick in every game. If you then go for the rest of the season of him scoring 1 goal in the Premier League per month, your main striker, you're never going to win. So yes, you have to look at total goals, but how are they spread? In how many games is he scoring? You know, I've said it before. I'd rather a guy score 1 goal a game, but it'd be the winner, than maybe get double the amount, but scoring lots of like stat padding type goals. And I'm not saying Tammy's a bad player. He is a good backup for the level of a Timo Werner. There's no doubt about that at all in my mind. And I don't think it's disrespectful. It's just I think there's a notion from a lot of Chelsea fans that they felt that the Tammys and the Mounts and everybody else, they're going to be our academy players. Eventually, have finally broken through. They're going to become Premier League stars. They're going to be the ones that are going to make us EPL champions. And they have a part to play in making you champions of England again. I just don't think it's starring roles. And even with Reece James, I think he's the most talented of all your kids. Even he's been rested today because he has been exposed a little bit recently, and it takes time for these young players to develop and find themselves. And I just think the Chelsea fans that actually were, the overhyped Mason and overhyped Tammy and overhyped James, you're the ones that are putting the ridiculous pressure on them. The fans like Jem and Anita and everybody else that are saying they're good, just give them time. Don't overplay Mount. They're the ones that are doing them a favor. So I think that needs to be taken into consideration.
What do you guys think? Oh, sorry.
Let me just do a chat. Sorry. Didn't Mount score an assist to bring us back to 3-0 down in the game last week? More reactionary stuff.
Yeah, but it's like if we had played this team this well last week, we wouldn't have been 3-0 down in the first place. So what is your point? The whole point, the whole thing with this Mount thing is that we don't have a problem with Mason Mount. Nobody has a problem with Mason Mount, but we have a problem when he's getting shoehorned into the squad at right wing, which isn't his position. Because you saw today, Hudson-Odoi was arguably our best attacker today. The way he was literally just holding his wing, dribbling past people, beating the man, forced Crystal Palace to double up on him, creating space for everybody else. With Mount, when he's out there, everybody knows he's not going to come at me and run at me or go this or do this. So they just sit there, one-on-one defend him, and it's less space for everybody else.
There's a comment here from Gotti Riaz. He says,
people forget this.
One sec, mate. He says, Pulisic and Ziyech get Tammy goals this season, no problem. They do. But my opinion, and I'm sure everybody on this panel agrees with it, in this one aspect is, but if you put Werner in the position that Tammy will be in, you'll score even more goals. Surely, as Chelsea fans, your primary want is for Chelsea to win. Who gets goals, who gets assists, who starts. To an extent, it shouldn't matter one little bit as long as you're winning. And that's what weirds me out about younger modern day fans and the kind of journalists and social media influencers that feed into them is we're creating an industry around our game that is about where the individual is now bigger than the club. And that for me is just, I find it weird. Like if I went up to my dad and said that, my dad would give me a slap in the teeth. Why is team first every day of the week? I'm sure Anita's dad's the same. It's about Chelsea more than it is the individual. You always want certain players to do well. We all have favorite players, but you know what I mean? Like I love Beckham growing up as a kid. When Beckham got sold, I was genuinely sad. But you think that meant me maybe hate Ronaldo when he came in? No, because I wanted Man United to win games. It's weird. Sorry, Prime, you were going to say something, mate.
No, I think you answered it in the point that you made. To be fair, so
sorry.
Also, how do you guys feel about Tammy's reaction to not taking the penalty and
You know
getting taken
what?
off him.
You know what? I actually liked it. I liked it because it tells me that Curry is willing to do whatever it takes to get on that score sheet, and I like that. I really do like that, and it shows me that he's getting his confidence back. And before, because remember when he missed the penalty
the Super Cup.
in the Super Cup, and he lost his confidence from there. But that shows me that he's got his confidence back, and I like that in a striker, whether he's second fiddle or not. That is the attitude that I need from a striker, and I hope everyone else takes that as an example. Even though it got taken off him and he had a bad attitude after, either way, he still went to go handshake Jorginho regardless. He put his pride aside, calm. And do you know what I liked even more? Aspilicueta.
Yeah.
That is my captain. That's what I've been wanting to see from him for years, fam. That's my captain.
It's very good. We have to say, I've got to give some credit back here to Monstar because he is about to join the stream and his camera isn't on. So it's not just when they lose on weekends that he has his camera off. Before we do that, though, by popular demand, my reaction to Jadon Sancho not being in the match day squad. People are asking to see it because I didn't see it earlier, so I'm going to show it now. Apologies for anyone that finds it offensive, but here we go. Say sorry, pray to God, pray to Buddha, pray to Allah, pray to Yoda, pray to Joe Pesci, whoever you pray to, whoever your God is, get it done now. Make him a Manchester United player, for God's sakes. Get it done, get it over the line, no messing about, and then we go. Come on now. He's telling you. Jadon Sancho is doing this. He said, hi everyone. I'm here. He's bending over. He's flirting with you. He's showing you've got him back. Come here, Daddy.
Larry, you got into that position quite easily, you know.
You would make me your daddy. That's what he said. Checkbook out, spend it, make him a Man United player. None of this messing about, none of this structured nonsense. I reacted kind of happily to the thought. I'm so glad I'm doing Scotch, as well, 100%. Kai is with us. Kai, what you saying, bro, about your team's victory today?
Beating Palace isn't for everybody, man.
Bro, listen, I'm talking about your team for a second here, right? And I'm coming to you because this time last week you were like, "No, Frank Lampard is soya milk." What are you saying now, bro?
He's still soya milk, man. But that's not the point. The team played well today. The team played all right today. What's his name?
Ben Chilwell.
No, Ben Chilwell did good. Yeah. By the way, all the Teeny comparisons can move along now since Teeny played like 4 games for Arsenal since he came. But for some reason, he's the best thing since I don't know what. But back to Jorginho. Jorginho should have gave the attacking boys some penalty, at least one penalties, to one of them. I guess that's why Tammy got really pissed off about the whole thing.
He's a penalty specialist. If he gives it to Timo and Timo misses, that doesn't help, does it?
No.
They should have. They should have thought about the
FPL. Could have given it to Tammy. Could have given it to someone else.
Is it fantasy? Fantasy. Come on. I had Chilwell. Werner needed to score. It would have been beautiful.
I get that. Monster, what you saying, bro? What you saying?
Put some respect on Chelsea's name. Put some respect on Chilwell's name. I keep telling people, Tierney is not even in Chilwell's class. Officially today, Chilwell is the second best left back in the league after Andy Robertson, and he's coming for Andy Robertson's place. Put some respect on Thiago Silva's name. Do I have to keep naming people? Put some respect on Callum Hudson-Odoi's name. Do you know what I mean? Put some respect on Kai Havertz's name. Come on, man. This is my team.
Yeah, put some respect on Frank Lampard's name. Monster, put some respect on Frank Lampard's name.
Put some respect on Lampard's name too. Innit?
Yeah.
We're coming for the league. I keep telling you.
Oh, God.
Here we go, man.
Kai, question. Kai, got a question.
Ask it.
You don't rate Declan Rice, and mainly it's because he's English. But
no, not because he's English. Not because he's English. I just don't rate him because I just don't think he's a good player.
I agree.
Has nothing to do with the fact that he's English.
I don't rate.
He doesn't rate him and he's English.
But people said the same thing about Chilwell.
You're just trying to make agendas that.
Jim's only half English.
No, but I've got it in me, right?
Thinking about Chilwell.
Chilwell is good today. But I want to see him through the whole season. One game doesn't really prove a point to anybody,
all the games
he had a chance. He shot was good. Yeah, so far he's
No,
been good, but he played one
that
game.
won't-
He played like 2 games, one of them out of the bench. Let's give him time.
My
Let's not
point
get
isn't
carried
this
away.
one- my
Chelsea
point
fans
is
need
not
to
this
stop
one
getting
game.
carried away. It's one game against Palace,
My
2
point is
penalties.
not this one
We've been
game.
good. Just
My,
Hold on. Wait, we dominated
point-
that game. We dominated them. They didn't have
Yeah, we did.
They didn't have a chance. They had 0.1 expected goals. Do you know
Oh,
how
here we
bad
go.
that is?
yeah,
Team
exactly the
foul.
expected
Oh,
goal. Here we
It's
go.
so
Here we
bad.
go with
Oi, oi.
expected.
They had
Did you know-
they had to have a sniff. Nothing.
No,
Nada.
but-
We got a
Wait.
clean
Fran,
sheet.
Why do you
Gassed.
think? Why do you think I have agenda against English players? Isn't Reece one
no,
of my
no,
favorite
no,
players
no,
at
no,
Chelsea?
no, it's mainly just Rice. It's mainly
Wait,
Rice.
you know,
Do
Zaha-
you
Because
watch
I don't rate him though.
You know what?
No, but do you actually watch him? That's my point.
Kai. What happens is, I've even seen it in a group chat sometimes.
Yeah.
When you mention, I think whenever you mention anything about a person, it doesn't matter who the person is, in what context, when you mention their nationality, their religion, or their skin color, once you bring that up, you're making an immutable an element of your criticism.
Who
If
did
you
they
don't-
mention? Did they mention the fact that he's English? I just said he's not
say
good enough.
something like he's overhyped because he's English. That's where you're bringing it in. Just if you say
No,
rubbish, say
That's why
he-
Lampard wants him though. That's why Lampard wants
No,
him.
it's
If
not.
if somebody offered you Rice
Give me
or
right now,
Pat, who would you
bro.
take? Terry.
There you're doing
Who would you
it.
take?
Right now, bro.
There you're doing it, bruv. There you're doing it. If someone's
It's
turning around
not.
like you can't, that's not what it is. Lampard wants him because Lampard rates him as a player. Lampard's also just gone out and bought a black goalkeeper. What is that? What's that got to do with it? He signed. He's an English xenophobe. Why has he booked 2 Germans? We English that we
Yeah.
like.
No,
them
I
is
didn't
good.
say he's. I didn't say he's an English xenophobe. I didn't say that.
You
I didn't say
wants
that.
because he's
No, Terry.
English.
Now you're putting stuff into my mouth. I said that he's not. I said Chilwell
You have to
wasn't
pay
my
him to
first
do that.
my first choice, right? He wasn't my first choice. He wasn't my first choice. One game is not going to prove to me that he's because even Alonso had good games at Chelsea, right? So far, I'm liking what I'm seeing from him. He's been good, right? He's been good. But if you give me the choice between Declan Rice or Partey, I would take Partey any day of the week. And I'm sure that all of us here, at least 80% of us, would take Partey over.
But the thing is not
over Rice if
Partey.
they could.
The thing is not Partey. If the manager wants a player, it shouldn't matter who necessarily else is out there. Because if it suits their system, then that should be what matters.
No, that's not true. That's not true because we run by a director of football. A director of football should decide where the future of the club goes, especially if we keep changing managers. Look at it logically. Don't look at it from an emotional point of view, right? We don't know how long Lampard is going to stay here. If we're going to have a bunch of
No,
players,
it's not a Lampard point of
look
view.
at us.
It's a manager point of
Look
view.
at us after Conte, right? Look how many players we had here that we had to get rid of, right?
Makes good point.
Yes, and look at how many players in Conte's second season. Look how many players we bought that were bad.
And listen,
Bakayoko, we still can't get rid of him.
guys, we get stuck in the weeds on this.
Yeah.
I don't care who you rate and don't rate. I just think when you start bringing in someone's nationality, it just makes everything messy and it takes everybody's minds off of the game and it's not worth doing. Comment here, I don't know if it's true, says breaking news, OR is staying at Leon. Check Twitter.
And so is
Go on.
and so is Depay as well. So if Depay stays at Leon, United, I don't think we'll
Where's
get
the
Dembele.
information from? I can't find it. Who's put this out
It's
there?
from RMC. It's,
RMC, Get French Football News has retweeted it as well. So if that happens, in terms
No
of
Sancho.
United, we can't get Dembele because that's the only reason why they were selling is to get Depay.
Well, you know, that it doesn't matter anyway. You don't matter anyway. Jadon Sancho has just phoned up Ollie and says, "Make me your daddy, bruv." That's what he's saying, bruv. He wants
You're asking for the hate. Man. It's gonna come for you on Monday. And none of us are gonna be here.
Sancho's gonna
Terry,
love
after watching that live stream, I don't think he's coming.
this is monster. Let them know the truth. Get them. What does that mean there, KT?
Get the blue flag flying and keep the blue flag flying high.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Kai, you're
Kai-
an undercover Spurs.
Kai,
fan,
you're an
yeah?
undercover.
Spurs fan, bruv.
I don't even like Spurs, man. Other than Son, I like Son. He's a good player. That's it.
Oh,
Son
you
is
see,
good.
see, that's one undercover person.
I wonder why he don't like Harry Kane.
Here we go. No. I like Harry Kane. I just don't think he's as good as Lewandowski. That's all I'm saying.
Cool.
Lewandowski, like, come on, man, that guy's an alien, bro.
On a serious level, though. Now, yes, we won today, and it's a great performance, and it was 4-0, and everyone played well, and we looked balanced, and Mendy looked great. Yes, but now it's just about consistency, and that was our biggest problem last season. We had no consistency, so we need to just.
I think that's very
keep
true.
level-headed.
What will end the stream
And let
by
me just say this.
go on, Prime.
Sorry, you say it's only Palace, fine, don't get overhyped. But if we had lost the Palace, then the whole thing would be Chelsea can't even beat Palace. So what is it?
Yeah, but we didn't
No,
prime.
no,
So
it's enough. It's enough to win, but let's not get overhyped like we're gonna win the league over it.
yeah.
It's good that we won.
I know,
It's good that we
but
won.
again, don't
Prime
downplay
said,
it as
what
well.
Prime said, I think, is absolutely bang on. You celebrate these wins. Palace have the second best away record against top 6 teams over the past 5 years. They have a better chart. They factually have won more points away from home against 6 teams than Liverpool, Man United, Tottenham, Arsenal, and yourselves. So it's a very good result today. There's no doubt about it. I think more consistency will come. I think the final thing to say is that you started to see better fitness today.
Yeah,
100%.
All the Premier League teams get fitter. This is where things level out. It's like pouring a pint of Guinness. You know, you have to just wait for things to settle, and you know the cream will rise to the top as an example. Not that you have cream in a pint of Guinness, but you know what I mean. And at the end of the day, this is what's going to happen. The Chelseas, the Liverpools, the Cities, the Man United, you know, even like how good Everton and all these other teams have started, they will level out at some point because it always happens, barring the one season where Leicester went on a madness, but that's once in 35 years. So I don't think we're going to use that as a prime.
The other thing I just want to say quickly as well to the Clydes and the Monsters, because I've been away. Back your manager, yeah, just back him. Stop after 3 games going on about him not doing this and playing man out of position.
And on that,
just back it.
Anita last week didn't say this sack Lampard, get him out. She said we need to question some elements, and that's the other end of the spectrum. Say you can't question a mistake.
It's insane. That's insane.
Insanity. It's insanity, and that's the I mean, Matty B definitely called for him to be sacked and wanted him out. And Kai definitely said that he doesn't have a big enough shovel or something along those lines to deal with it. That's not what Anita said. So got to back it up there. Listen, everyone who's tuned in, thank you. Smash the like and share button. Back later today. Of course, I've got to do a Jadon Sancho video at some point today. Monday's going to be huge. From about 5 a.m. in the morning through to the closing of the transfer window, I'm going to be live every couple of hours bringing you transfer updates, transfer news. And at the end of it, we're going to go live with a kind of review show, what everything's going on. And it is going to hot up massively now. Big game tomorrow as well, of course. Tottenham versus Manchester United. Can't wait for that. Smash the like button and share button. Make sure you download the Flick app, yes. Subscribe to the Football Terrace clips. The link is in the description below. And full podcasts are back next week, so no games. So that Chelsea show's back. The Arsenal podcast is back. The Liverpool podcast shoots up. That sounds like a drug den. But anyway, the United podcast, 9 p.m. on Sunday, which is going to be massive. And we are in the middle of making and starting to produce a show, which is going to be a female-only show on the Football Terrace, hosted potentially by a certain young lady that's featured on the show recently as well. So we're going to do that. I mainly sorting this out because Neat's called me out on the air that we need to do more of it. So and that's what we're going to create. And it's female only. So yes, Prime, you can take part. It's all good. Everyone who's tuned in, smash the like button, hit the share button, and we'll see you all again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.